Hey everybody, it is Heather, and today we are talking yarn goals for 2020. I probably should have posted this video earlier, but I didn't have a chance to, so there's that. I am going to be talking about yarn goals, yarn stash goals, yarn buying goals, the whole situation, if you may. This year in 2020, I have set myself a goal of not buying any new yarn until June. I wanted to give myself 6 months of not buying yarn, and I screwed up. In January, it's January 21st, 22nd, 20th, something like that. I've already bought yarn twice. What the hell, man? Sorry. What the heck, man? Originally, I was trying to save money for a family vacation, and I'm like, oh, I'll stop buying yarn because I probably spend more money in yarn than I should, and then me and my family can go on a vacation. Then the second idea was I have way too much yarn. What you see here is like a third, maybe, of the yarn that I have. I am going to show you in the end of this what my stash looks like. It may not show you, I might not be able to show you all of it because some of it is on my craft table, which is actually a pool table, so it's a very large table, and I have like assorted balls and cakes and skeins laying all around me. And then I have some in a tote and some in a bag and some in a closet, but I'm gonna try to show you the majority of my yarn stash. So like I was saying, my yarn stash is starting to overwhelm me. Earlier this year, if you look back here, or later, let's see, when did I do this? Up until November, I did not have these two, this one and this one. I didn't have these two full-size crates up here. It was kind of open, and I had the other stuff, like the decor there, and then I had all the other crates going down. But my yarn was in boxes laying to the corner of my craft room, and I was like, no, I need to show my yarn off, so I'll see it and I'll use it. I'll get, inspired and I'll want to use it. Well, I got these two in thinking that I would have more room, and instead I bought a ton more yarn. So now, once again, I have yarn in boxes, yarn in totes, yarn in the closet, and all my cubes are full. That was not the idea of getting these two. It was more to get the yarn that was in boxes out so I could see it. So that brings me back to my plan. The idea was if I didn't buy yarn for 6 months, I could work through a lot of my stash, at least some of my stash. My goal would be great if I had an entire one of these empty. That'd be so cool. Probably not gonna happen. I would like to have an empty one of these so I can put like my patterns in it, because I have my patterns kind of half in one of these, and then like I have this full of patterns, and I have a yarn book here with patterns, and I got random patterns just sitting on my pool table too. But my goal is to at least get one of these empty this year. And it doesn't have to be this one with all the smaller hanks of yarn. It could be one of the ones on the bottom. It's bulky yarn. That's cool. If I got that empty, I'd be cool with that. I'd also like to get the tote empty and the box of yarn that I will show you empty as well. So my goals now for 2020 is I will not buy yarn for 6 months. Starting February 1st until July 1st now, because I messed up, I will not be buying any yarn. I've already stopped buying yarn. I bought the yarn twice that I needed. I came up with this idea where I wanted to make a cardigan that I saw a pattern for, and I didn't have the kind of yarn that I needed for the cardigan. So, I could have used something in here, but I would have had to use colors that I probably would not have worn if it was made together, because this cardigan, I think, needs like 1,500 yards of yarn, finger and weight yarn, and I just didn't have the colors that I wanted to go together. So this is what I had minus one of these. This is what I had, and this is not enough. So I went out and I used a gift certificate that I had to a company and bought 2 more hanks of this, and then I went back to the original company that sells this, their actual homepage, and bought 2 or 3 more hanks. So I will have enough to finish this pattern that I want to make. And in theory, I will be getting rid of 5 hanks out of here, but I also added in 5, so it balances out completely. So that's not what I wanted to do. That was not my plan. So I did make those 2 yarn purchases. I have not received them yet, so I can't, in my opinion, I cannot say that I'm not making, or I'm not getting new yarn until I get that last one. So I can't start my, you know, my 6 months until I get them packages in the mail. And then from the day I get those packages in the mail will be 6 months before I buy any more yarn. It just is. Like I said, I am overwhelmed with yarn. I have like a little bit of a sensory processing issue where a lot of things overwhelm me. Like I love yarn. I love buying yarn. I love feeling yarn. I love knitting. I love smelling yarn. I love squishing yarn. But sometimes I come in here to get inspired and I get incredibly overwhelmed with the amount of yarn that I have because there's so much that I can't draw inspiration anymore. So I want to combat that by making the yarn more neat and more manageable. And I feel like if my yarn is more manageable, I will knit more things that I like. And more things that will get used. Currently I knit for charity. I knit premature baby hats for the NICUs. I send them to someone who dispenses them to local NICUs. I also knit, you know, newborn baby blankets for the same charity. I knit for not my newborn, she's not newborn anymore. I knit for my infant, I knit for my son, and I knit for my sister. That's like my 3 main people that I knit for. I don't really wear a lot of knitted goods. I want to change that in 2020. I want to start wearing the things that I make, which is why I'm making the cardigan out of those cool yarns that I think I'm gonna like. I will talk more about this in another video. Once I have all the yarn together, I will cake them all up and I'll show you what they look like. I'll show you the pattern that I'm gonna make, and there will be that. Currently, I am knitting a few things for my sister, my infant, and I wanna make something for my husband because he actually is asking me to make him things, and I don't, because I feel like he's not gonna really wear it. He's gonna wear it more out of obligation, like he's gonna feel obligated to wear it because I made it and not because he really wants to wear it, and that's not what I want. So he says he really wants it, so I'm gonna knit him some things, like a sweater or a, what is it called? Sweater vest and a sweater. He wants a sweater vest and a sweater, and I will make those for him eventually. Probably not in the first 6 months of this year. Like I have lots of other things that I want to make, and I have the yarn to at least start most of these projects. Like I want to make a blanket for my bed. I have probably a good 2/3 of the yarn that I need for that. I want to make my son a blanket. I want to make that cardigan I was talking about. I want to make my daughter, my infant daughter, a cardigan. Also, I want to make some socks. All of these are things that I have the yarn to make. There's a sweater that I wanted to make my sister out of this, and this goes like 5 deep. 3 deep, and then there's some behind these 2 as well. Uh-oh, it's coming down. It's about to rain yarn. Like that's what I mean when I say that this stuff is overwhelming. I counted one of these cubes the other day, and this cube alone had almost like 60 skeins of yarn in it. That's a lot of yarn. I would like to put at the end of this video how many full skeins, balls, and cakes. I'll put it all in as one number at the end, the full total amount. I'm going to count my yarn either today or tomorrow, and I will put it in at the very end because I'm curious. I'm going to keep a running tally of how much yarn I have used this year, and hopefully it is a ton. So I'm gonna set a goal. Let's set a goal for the first 6 months. Well, we'll say the first 7 months because like I said, I messed up. Since, the first 7 months of the year, I will not buy any yarn because I messed up. So technically, the 6 months. The second goal I have is to use at least 50, that's right, 50 balls, cakes, or skeins of yarn. And that includes, cotton ones, because I do use a lot of cotton yarn. Like all that up there in those totes, that's all cotton. A lot of this is cotton, this section, because I got love the cotton. I mean, all these big Kates are cotton. This purple is cotton. This is cotton. And then I have lots of acrylic that I will make baby stuff with for the preemies. So there's that. I want to use 50 balls, cakes, and skeins of yarn. Not 50 each, because that's ridiculous and I can't do that. By my birthday, which is May 30th, I will give myself one extra day, because that would be May 31st, the last day of the 5th month. I don't like that. I'm going to give myself till June 30th or 31st. I don't know how many days there are in June. By the last day of June, I want to have used 50 balls, cakes, or skeins of yarn. We'll see. Right now, I am working on, I have 3 projects on the needles that are totaling 4 balls of yarn, 4 cakes of yarn, technically. That's a lot. That's 4. And then I just made my daughter a pullover sweater, which was an entire skein, because I used what was left of the skein to make a preemie hat and to make my son a lovey. So that's, I already got 1 ball done. 1 ball down, guys. That doesn't seem like a lot. 1 ball does not seem like a lot, but it's a start. So I am going to go and I'm going to show you my yarn stash. I'm a little scared, don't make fun of me, because like I said, there's a lot of yarn. There's also a lot of types of yarn. I have acrylic yarn. I have hand-dyed merino wool. I have lots of cotton yarn. I even have some possum yarn in here. I got some polyester, some Angora, velvet yarn, Bernat blanket yarn. So I'm going to film my stash for you, and I'm going to show you what I have. And then at the end of this, I will tally up how many balls of yarn that I have, and I will let you all know. Also, this year, another goal of mine is to keep a running track of all the things I've made. Like, I have a planner. Let's see my planner. Where's my planner? It should be here somewhere. Ah, it's like literally right beside me. I have this planner that my husband bought me because I have lots of doctor's appointments and therapies for my kid. I am going to, every time I finish a project, I am going to write it in here. And that way I can, at the end of the year, look back and see how many projects I made. How cool is that, guys? Genius, right? So far this month, I only jotted down the pullover that I made for my daughter, but I also did the lovey for my son. And at the end of each month, I'll also write how many hats that I made for the preemies, for the NICU charity. So I'll know how many of those I made. So I don't usually put on my cast on date in here because that's too much information for me to keep up with, honestly. So there's that. So this is going to come in handy with my knitting as well. So now it's time to see the yarn stash, everybody. I hope you enjoy this video of my crazy yarn stash. I might slide you quickly over my pool table / work table. Don't judge, guys. Do not judge. It's intense, to say the least. It's a hot disaster mess. But, you know, I work better in chaos because I'm crazy. Not really. Okay, maybe a little. So here's the yarn stash, guys. Okay, guys, here is some of my stash. In this box, we have quite a few cakes, skeins of yarn. I've got all this cotton yarn that came in a grab bag. And then I have a Cotton Kings cake. And I have these 2 from Hobbii, which I absolutely love, actually. And then I have, over in this tote, I have lots of Premier Anti-Pilling Bamboo, which I am going to make a blanket with. I have 5 of the Hirschner's Holiday Pastry Puff, 4 of Lime Brand Mandala Tweeds. I have 4 of that 70s yarn, another one of those. 2 ice yarns are in here. This is a smaller tote, so it's not that bad, I say to myself. So now here is the real stash. To give you the full effect, yes, there is a ponytail holder on my floor because my cat likes to bat them around. I'm trying to catch in the top because I have yarn sitting on the top. Of course I do. Okay, I know this is crazy, but this white string right here, coming from that scrubby, is driving me insane. I've got to fix that. So, all the way down. And the lovely thing about my yarn is that my yarn is stacked in front of each other. For example, take this square cube. There are so many balls on top of balls of yarn in here. Everything is in front of other stuff. Like there's 3 of these here that I know of. Then when you come down here to cakes yarn, I'm really big on hiding yarn behind yarn, because how else am I going to get all my beloved yarn to fit in here? And right here is some cakes that I have caked up myself, which are usually, I think all of that is hand-dyed yarn. And then I got some pattern books and pattern sheets. And then I got some assorted. I got some yarn down here. These 3, I actually won in an Instagram contest. Lion Brand Color Made Easy. So I won those, which is awesome. Get back in there, baby. Then we come over here to this disaster. This disgusts me. I hate when my yarn looks like this. So I will use these partials and a scrappy blanket. And I have lots of Caron cakes because, well, they come from Michael's and my husband works at Michael's. Then up here, I got some partial Caron cakes, some cotton Caron cake peeking out. That's like one of the original Caron cake colors. Then I have these, which are in front of, yes, that's right, more Twirls cakes. And then over here, we have some fun little cute yarn. This one here is like amazing. I bought this off of a D-Stash on Instagram. It is actually, let's see, hand-dyed in Hungary, one of a kind. Haha, I have 2 of them. I mean, they're not striped exactly the same, but that's still cool. It's actually 100% silk. And when they say this is the softest silk yarn that I've ever had, so there's that. I mean, I've never had a lot of silk yarn, so I can't say that, I guess. Caron cotton cakes for the win. Then we have some assorted reds. See, my theory was I used to have my yarn separated by color. If you can tell, this is mainly reds and oranges, except for a little bit of blue and black. Not cool, guys. Sorry about that. Then down here, we have like, in my little cutouts, this is a very, this one here, this like, that right there is a very expensive skein of Sheepy's yarn. Sheepy's color wheel. Like, it was a very expensive whirl. I paid a lot of money for that. And then I started to use it for a project and then wasn't happy, so I had to pull it out. And, you know, there's not a really good way to put a center pull back in. So I can't. Then I have lots of Bernat blanket yarn, Bernat velvet, more Caron cakes. Over here, we got some more Bernat blanket yarns and then some big balls. So this is the majority of my stash. Oh, wait, I didn't show you one thing. Sorry for that sound. That was my son's trampoline. This is all cotton. Cotton and cotton. I have these tiny little balls of cotton, which are absolutely precious. These 2 skeins here glow in the dark. And then there's lots of different types of cotton here. Mainly they're smaller 50-gram balls, which is why they're in totes, because they don't stack well. And then I have, like, this is a very old skein of peaches and cream. My mom bought this at a yard sale for me because it was a really good bargain. Then I have lots of partials. And then I got lots of knit picks, Dishy, very pretty. Then I have another cotton cake. And then I have some gorgeous here. Then I have some hand-dyed here. I have a skein of hand-dyed yarn here. Oh wait, that's not all. This is a punch needle kit that I am working on. I'm going to now show you my beloved pool table / work area. All right, guys, look at this. This is where I put this. I can show you. I have a partial skein of Red Heart Essentials or something like that. Partial skein of white cotton with gold. And a very expensive partial skein that I am currently using to make my daughter's scrunchies. Partial skein. This is what was left after making my kids blank, his lovey and the preemie hat and the pullover for my baby. Then I have a cookie cake and another partial skein that I've been making preemie hats out of. Then over here, I have the center of the cotton twirl that I'm using for my daughter's dress that I'm making. I have sock yarn with my socks on the needle, candy bar. This is a sweater that I was almost finished before I realized that I didn't like the way it was turning out. So I've got to frog that. Over here, I have the two Cotton Kings that go with the sweater. And I have two balls of Caron Cakes cotton in like an ivory white color that I'm working with. Well, I was working with, but I'm not anymore. Then I have 5 more of the holiday pastries from Hirschner's. I'm going to make a blanket with the 10 of those together. I have this one sad little sweet roll. I have more sweet rolls over at my wall. Then I have some cotton, hand-dyed sock yarn, cotton. So I have a really disaster of an area. I'll give you the broad view of my work area. My beautiful beloved yarn. So there's that. This is where my magic happens, guys. I hope you enjoyed looking at my yarn stash. And now I am going to spend the rest of the day counting my skeins so I can tell you how many that I have at the very end of this, okay? Peace, guys. For now, just wait until I tell you how many balls of yarn I have.